Ute Park is the name of a community that many only associate with the 2018 fire that contributed to the closure of Philmont Scout Ranch that summer. But Ute Park is also part of the history of the Philmont area, dating back to when Native Americans hunted the land and later the United States Army rested horses in the surrounding river pastures. As civilization and industry expanded into the Cimarron Canyon, a railroad was established through Cimarron Canyon to service the mining and lumber industries in the area. In the early 1900s, the St. Louis, Rocky Mountain, and Pacific Railway excursion line established a wilderness tourist destination with lodging, dining, and dancing facilities to serve their patrons. Today, we know this development as Cimarroncita. We'll learn more about the history of Cimarroncita and how it became a part of the Philmont Scout Ranch in this edition of Artifact of the Week. In 1930, the recreational facilities built to serve the railroad customers visiting the area were purchased by Minette Thompson, where she established the Cimarroncita Ranch Camp for girls. The first camping season was in the summer of 1931. Cimarroncita Ranch Camp was a long-term camp where participants would be on site for the entire summer. It's reported that Wade Phillips helped and advised Minette in the operation of the camp, and her success may have influenced Wade and Genevieve to consider donating their recreational property to the Boy Scouts of America. In 1936, Minette married Frank Burke, and together they developed and operated the camp, eventually expanding to include the Cimarroncita Camp for Boys, which they opened in 1946. The camps offered a broad range of activities, from hiking to horseback riding, to ballet to photography to arts and crafts, with a focus on the cultural riches of New Mexico and an emphasis on ensuring campers had the time of their lives enjoying everything the area had to offer. With every season beginning with a thrilling campfire featuring the dancers of Taos Pueblo. While Cimarroncita initially catered to campers from Texas, the camp quickly gained a worldwide reputation as one of the most elegant, exclusive, and finest summer camps available, with Helen Jane Phillips among those who spent at least a summer there. The camps continued their operation until 1995, when societal shifts in sending kids to camp for the entire summer finally changed enough to make keeping the campsites open impractical. In the early 2000s, Minette Burgess, cousin and namesake of the Cimarroncita founder, and her husband, Alan Huerta, acquired Cimarroncita, turning it into a wilderness resort featuring fly fishing, horseback riding, nature expeditions, hiking, and hunting opportunities. And together they built a facility that preserved the land and restored the historic buildings built back in 1908 for the railroad resort, and created eco-travel and adventure recreation opportunities for adults and families in the tradition of the historic Cimarroncita camps. The Laguna Lodge and Isoleta cabin served as the primary sleeping quarters for visitors. Frijoles contained the dining room, lobby, library, and porches for relaxation. Other facilities on the property included the Kiva with its large dance studio and arts and crafts workshop, Trading Post Park and the Trading Post providing shopping and relaxation opportunities for guests, the river cabin and outdoor sites along the Cimarron River, as well as backcountry field campsites, which provided additional opportunities for guests to experience all of the splendor, beauty, and relaxation the area has to offer. The couple ran Cimarroncita until the 2014 season was unexpectedly canceled. As Cimarroncita ceased operations, the Boy Scouts of America entered into negotiations with Cimarroncita LLC, a holding company for the property, about acquiring the facility. The BSA agreed to purchase the property in October 2014, and the transfer of ownership was completed on June 1, 2015. The newly acquired Cimarroncita added 2,684 acres to Philmont Scout Ranch. Recently, the collection of the National Scouting Museum received the donation of a photo album filled with photos of Cimarroncita Camp and Philmont Scout Ranch. These images were taken in the mid-1940s and give us a look back in time when Cimarroncita was known as a world-class summer camp for youth. Let's take a look at some of these images. When Cimarroncita was acquired by the BSA, the vision was to expand the offerings of Philmont to possibly include increased hunting and fishing experiences, expanded and enhanced shooting ranges, and eventually could augment the recreation activities provided by the Philmont Training Center for participants and their families. Of course, the future of Cimarroncita changed in May of 2018 when the Ute Park fire devastated the area, rendering it unusable until the fire damage to the environment stabilized and restoration efforts could begin in earnest. Today, the site sees use in the buildings and areas that are still accessible and safe, and CITA also serves as a trailhead and a staff camp, providing access to Sawmill and is part of at least 2 trek itineraries, with use expanding annually. A Philmont camp ranger and his family live on site to maintain the property and continue the hard work necessary to return Cimarroncita to its previous glory and allow it to continue to provide for Philmont's mission of delivering wilderness adventures that last a lifetime. Well, that's all the time we have for this week. Join us next time as we continue to learn more about the history of the BSA through the collection of the National Scouting Museum and Artifact of the Week.